Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to CrossFit. So I worked on bonus level 6 here, plus 6, and I just needed to jump on as soon as possible because I don't want my rage to go down any. It shouldn't at this point. So I made some progress, and I would say everything over here on the left side is right, except for this column. And then I was working on this column and I was thinking maybe there is a way to solve this puzzle. And I get down to this square and it's not right. I can't with 100% certain swear that this puzzle is unsolvable or that this puzzle is just inaccurately wrong, but it certainly doesn't seem that way. Because if I change this, for instance, to a 2, then I could change this to not a 5, because there's a 5 already there. But maybe a 6, and then maybe I'd come over here and change this to a 5, and maybe that would get that. And so maybe I just did solve this, but no, because I have a 5 here now. So maybe this 5 needs to be a 3. Can't be a 3 because of that. So this has to be either a 6. And then you're starting to see what the problem here, isn't it? It's like, no matter how I try to play this, as I try to cycle through different things, like all of these are not right. And I don't think I can get them right. These two columns in particular have not divulged any actual facts at all. And I've been through the columns, I've been through the rows, I've run every single bit of logic into this. And if there is a way to solve it, I just can't care anymore. I just don't care. So let's look at plus 7. Here we've got another puzzle. But do I want to even do this puzzle? Because I've literally had 3 puzzles in a row now where I've been unable to solve it. And so pause it here and look at it if you want to see it. Or buy the game, I suppose, if you want to play it yourself. Of course, you'd have to grind through all of the first 8 ones to unlock the bonus levels, which it's very, very strange that the game was so kind to let you do any of the first 8 puzzles, and then if you beat 4 of these first 8 puzzles, you unlocked the next 8 puzzles, and then if you beat 4 more, you unlock the next 8 puzzles, and if you beat 4 more, you unlock the next 8 puzzles, and 4 more, you unlock the next 8 puzzles, 4 more, you unlock the next 8 puzzles, and then I imagine the 8-1 to unlock the bonus level requires you to beat everything. I imagine that very much is the case, that you would have to play all of these puzzles and beat them before you can get the bonus. And see, that was bonus level 7, bonus level 8 here. There's nothing special here, nothing helping me. It's just another puzzle, and I don't trust these puzzles anymore. So let's try maybe the plus ones, the second bonuses. Maybe something's different here. Maybe we can learn something here. Like the plus 1 here, we've got a nice 6x6. That seems like something we'd be able to do, possibly. Also, I have to just ask myself what is going on here. Has my brain just blown the fuse? Can it not solve puzzles at all? Or is it that these bonus levels puzzles aren't playing by the rules that were established previously, and they're just requiring the player to guess? Let's see, well, there's not going to be anything here. I mean, some of the early puzzles were so easy, and I'm gonna have to go back and just do them again. Like do 1-1 and see if I can solve that, and see if I can easily solve that, or maybe it's just my current brain fuel is gone, and I don't mean like a daily amount of tolerance for this game. I mean like 6 months, a year, 2 years. I suppose for me at least, this also tells me that the game is not intriguing enough or fun enough to be more one of those daily challenge style cell phone games where you could do just one puzzle a day on it during your commute. No, I don't think that for me could be the case, because I am so done with this, and I've only been playing it for like 3 days. Of course, I've been trying to marathon it for like 3 days, and this really is the type of game that I would prefer to have done in 1 or 2 days, and it's going along. Now, that's not adding too much to my frustration, no. So it's not a time management thing for me, at least I don't think it is. It's a frustration thing. It's, can I actually solve it? One of the things about being efficient with your time is always knowing yourself and being true to yourself, and understanding if you can't do something, give up quick. Fail early, fail often is a good policy, instead of just trying over and over again in attempts to solve something that you probably won't ever actually solve. There's too many options on this puzzle that we're looking at right now, by the way. It's not going to happen. I think this puzzle too, with its multitude of options, is going to require guessing. And see, I know I'm coming in with it with a bad attitude. That's certainly the case, but and I do kind of see that if my brain could memorize all 64 of the possible squares possibilities, so potentially 64 to the power of 9 possibilities, if I could wrap my head around all those and just have every single thing memorized, because like there's a 4 that could be here and a 4 that could be here, and if maybe that would combine with the 4 that could be here or here, and in some way cross connect and actually give you a solution, but it would require such an amazing leap in logic. Maybe not a leap in logic, but just a use of memorization that's beyond me. The reason why I like puzzles is because it usually requires very little memorization. It just requires logical calculation, simple math here. And if they're going from the simple math that we've been doing in the previous puzzles, well, it's not even math, it's just deduction, to something crazier, to actual memorization and figuring things out that way, then the game has changed. It's something that's not for me at that point. Let's see. So I've done all the columns and I have not found a single bit of information that I can verifiably even start this puzzle on. No anchoring fact. And see, if you just have to start by guessing, I mean, you don't even have a 2 option. The smallest option here is a 3. So if you were just to guess this is 4 or this is 1 or this is 3, and then try it, and then if it doesn't work, change it and then restart, I mean, is that fun? Is that really even solving the game, or is that just guessing? Sure, if you said I'd win $1 million for solving this puzzle, I'd sit here and try 4, try 1, try 3. But otherwise, no. I have better things to do with my life. I hope most people have better things to do with their life than this app. And there's nothing on that row that can be locked down. And surely these ones, these are the problems. Like this here, and these here, and these here, and these here, guarantee that you can't do anything with these columns or these rows. So the only thing you could do would be this column, which this here and this here eliminates that column, or this column, which this here and this here eliminates that column, or this row, which this here and this here eliminates that row, which this row, this here and this here eliminates that row, which tells you there's not a single... Yeah, we don't even have to go any further. Since this square, 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 and this square, and this square, and this square. Since all of these have every single option, you have no deductive way to figure out any of the columns or any of the rows. No way at all. Because it's like, there's no way. And does having a pattern like this allow you to potentially cheat the system and put in anything you want? Maybe, but then you just kind of would have to like figure it out. Like, I could probably say that there's a 5 and a 6 that has to be here, but no, because there's a 5 here. One of these has to be 6, but 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all still possibilities. And so you might maybe figure out the 2 that are missing, but I bet there aren't any missing. So, like, I don't care. I don't even care to try it. Like, these extra bonus levels are no better than the original bonus levels. Like, they're not a bonus. This is the rage quit we're happening right here. Go ahead and just pause it here. Look, we can, let's just point out these. Similar pattern. It eliminates every row and every column. So take your screenshot if you want it, but like next, I imagine every single one of these ends up having something like this. And these are not helping, they're hurting. So maybe you could run a calculation on these rows and these columns and maybe solve this one, because at least in this pattern it's only doing the 4 in the middle. Let's see, 4, this. So this, we have a 9 by 9, so this is effectively a Sudoku puzzle. And if you were doing Sudoku, you could it would look similar to this with every single option everywhere. The only problem is, again, in Sudoku, there has to be something locked down. So again, maybe in these 3 columns and these 3 columns and these 3 rows and these 3 rows, you could find something and then find the middle after that point. That seems doable, but with those, which one were we looking at? With this, you have 3 options in every single one, so it may also not be doable because there may be multiples of every single number 1 through 9 in every single column and row. And if that is the case, then you're just back to the same logical problem of not being able to solve anything. So on number 5 here, they stopped giving you things that have every single option, because this is a 6x6 and nothing has more than 4 options. But that's still a lot, and at this level of frustration, like I wouldn't even have made it to bonus level 5, second bonus level 5 plus 5. It looks like maybe these are doable. And see, up to this point on the actual ones, level 1 through 8, the difficulty seemed to go up and go down and go up and go down, and we never ran into a puzzle that was impossible. And see, it screams to me that they just randomly by hand made the puzzles and didn't sort them into any kind of logical order, or couldn't even find a nice progression of difficulty to happen there. And it's also screams to me that they probably only spent a minimal amount of time making the puzzles, because I think you could probably have made a lot more, or tried out a lot more, or had a better algorithm to make the puzzles by default. There's no random here, there's no scoring here. That tells me that they probably don't have in this program anything that it could make random puzzles and figure it out. Here again is another example of just one I wouldn't want to bother to do now. I'm so burned by this game. And frankly, I would have been a lot happier if it had just ended at 8-1 without the bonus levels. And I guess that is the slight implication, but a game creator can't really make the argument that that the idea is don't play the bonus levels. We put them in there, but they're not good, so don't play them. I mean, that would just come off as sounding like an excuse and complaining, really. But what they should have done is just cutting room floor, put them. And you don't get anything for beating these puzzles, as far as I can tell. No achievements. They're marked off as green. There's also no way, just internally here, to erase your progress. So there's no way to make the ones you've already done that have turned the green into gray. There's no different profiles for different players. There's no score. There's no time. There's no clock. A puzzle game like this, it kind of helps to put a clock somewhere. That way people can be more responsible for their time and not get stuck up. The music is looped very shortly in many different places. Let's see this 4x4. So the how to play is just by default here. I remember this. Let's look at the how to play and see if it gives us anything. Nope. There's no education really as far as what strategies to use. It just says make every row and column consist of each of one of the 1, 2, 3, 4. So this instruction is only valid for 4x4 anyways. Left click to change the number, right click to fix the number. Which I believe, just to be a little bit more accurate, I think you mean affix the number, not fix the number. But maybe I'm wrong there. But the backgrounds, talk about crazy decisions, just barely readable things depending on the color of the background. Small fonts, no adjusters, no sliders for the fonts. A lot of features missing here. They could just improve it as a better Unity program in general. But at the end of the day, I don't think it is going to solve the problem of the game itself. The only thing that fixes the game itself is making it have better puzzles, and it just doesn't have that. So this is kind of an unfair test here that we're doing. Well, actually, yeah, I still managed to make a mistake there, so maybe I am just burned out. I mean, so that's kind of an unfair test to do the very first one, but we solved that. So let's see, like the first 8x8 or 7x7, like 8x8 here. So here's 4-8. Here's a good example of the first 8x8 you're given. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right here. So this is probably right where I would say you're gonna get most in the flow of the gameplay and really start to enjoy it, because you've got simplistic rules to follow. It's 2 options, so it's a simple toggle thing that keeps you playing quickly in the game. Here you can see I'm just quickly clicking on the double things, bumping them into the right things, and see there's things with 3 options and 4 options I can just ignore right now while I'm working on the puzzles. And we haven't gotten immediately to the columns and rows. The second half or second quarter of gameplay that I've actually played, which remember I'm skipping a lot of the bonus stuff, has so a lot more of the time would be spent just going through columns and rows and just trying to desperately solve the puzzle and find that one little bit of information that would even let you take a single step forward in solving the puzzle. And here it is just going by pretty quickly, pretty sweetly. I could enjoy 100 puzzles that went up to this level of difficulty and no higher. And then maybe throw in one confounder every now and then, one really tricky one, and I wouldn't be super upset with it. But from this point, it just gets harder and harder and more difficult, and it's just not it takes all the fun out of it. It sucks the fun right out of the game. And let's see. I'm just making random progress here. I don't even really have to follow the patterns in the algorithms that I had to create for efficiency, because you can at this level just be wild and click on whatever you see. There's enough there's significantly fewer options here so that you can just lock things down. There. Let's see. And yeah, I would have really appreciated if the game went no higher than this. Or if there was 50 or 100 puzzles up to this level of difficulty. Then, at the very least, if there was another 100 puzzles that were way more difficult than this, at least I could say, well, I feel like I got my time's worth here. This game has crossed the line from feeling like I've gotten my money's worth for the time to I feel like this game has just wasted my time. And inherently with the Steam 2-hour refund system, with games might try to just waste players' time and yet keep them involved in the gameplay. And I'm not saying that's what they did here. This game was almost certainly made before the refund system even was announced, but this is kind of a great example of a game that's probably not worth the amount you pay for it, even though it would show a high amount of time playing through it. And of course, that's always a weird conversation to have in itself, because how do you determine that in your own head? It's always this subjective personal opinion thing. I was mostly satisfied with the game up to this point, but I wasn't really having fun after this point. And so how do you, if half of a game is not entertaining, maybe if I wasn't a video game critic, I should have stopped at this point and said, okay, I've had enough. I've seen what this game has to offer, and I have no more interest in playing it. Let's see, we need a 2 or a 4. This has to be 2, which just has to be 7. And see, we're still, like, this is taking a while to solve. So I haven't become amazingly great at solving these puzzles over the course of the gameplay either. That would be nice if games had trained me to be really good at the gameplay, but that's not a demand I require of games. Let's see. Slowly making progress here. We need a 6 in this column, and we need a 5. And see, maybe I've made a mistake here. And if I made a mistake, that kind of goes back and just points that I have blown that fuse and just exhausted all my mental energy. Let's see, 6 and 8 are not allowed, so this has to be 1, this has to be 2, and I'm hoping everything is right so far. Let's see, 4 and 8, wait, that's 4 and 8, so yes, that's 2, and then 8 and 3, so 8 and 3, then 4 and 7 makes 8, 3 and 7, 2 and 4, 6. This isn't 5. This could be 6 or this could be 4. This can't be 4, so 4 and 5 makes that 6, which makes this not 7, not 2, so 4. This isn't 1 or 6, so that's 7. This isn't 6 or 1, so that's 5. This isn't 3 or 4, so that's 2. And it looks like we're going to solve this. 2, 6, 2. And see, a couple more clicks, and we should have this. Okay. So about 4.8, that's the level of difficulty. That's about the point I enjoyed this game, and I really stopped enjoying it after this 8.1, when it stops giving you any help, when you have to actually go and do the columns and rows and just check for multiple entries or possibilities over and over again. It's at least doable in 8.1 though. So up to 8.1 you can solve the puzzles, but some of these not without guessing. And so this game just stripped away all the fun elements from it. I was enjoying it when it was giving me help, and when there was a bunch of buttons that only had 2 options. So if it wasn't a 4, I knew it was a 1. I could just lock it down there. That makes for a smooth, quick experience. I wouldn't mind seeing a puzzle like this in some bigger AAA game where you are hacking a door doing this, trying to find a code. I imagine if it was for a bigger game, they would limit themselves greatly to maybe only using 3x3 grids, which is something we never really saw here. We never saw anything lower than a 4x4. You could have started us easily on a tutorial of a 1x1, and then well, not 1x1, because then it would be by default right. It would have to start at a 2x2 and then a 3x3 and do more 4x4s. And if you had added more of that at the beginning, that would have been great, because then you could have pushed the level 8s in here. You could have easily made 7 more simplistic 2x2 things, because it could be a 2x2 where you click one thing to solve it, a 2x2 where you click 2 things to solve it, a 2x2 where you click 3 things to solve it, and a 2x2 where you click 4 things to solve it. Although I don't think that would actually be possible. So you could get 3 tutorial puzzles in the first level just with 2x2s, and then you could do a 3x3 to make another 4 easily, and then that would have filled out level 8 right there. And that is incredibly easy to make those puzzles by hand, and they just dropped the ball and didn't do it. There is almost certainly a better version of this style of game, and I'm not just gonna say Sudoku, which, if this game was just Sudoku puzzles, at least we'd have some consistency there. Maybe if I was covering a game that covered Sudoku puzzles, I'd probably just do a spotlight, unless for some reason they actually were going to give us levels here. I think the level idea is just a limiting factor in this game, and it probably shouldn't be here. It would be better off with a single set of tutorial puzzles and cool puzzles that you found, and then it just moved right into the randomization. Much like how Minesweeper and Solitaire, those games that came with Windows for a long time, it's like there isn't a level 1-1 on Minesweeper. There isn't a level 1-1 of the Klondike Solitaire on Windows. No, it just gives you a random game, and when you hit new game, you get another random game, and when you hit new game, you get another random game. And that's the type of game you want to try to emulate in something like this, is just give me another puzzle, just give me another puzzle, let's just keep on doing it. Let's pretend like there's an infinite number of combinations, even though we know there actually can't be, but it will be such a large number. Here it's so limited, and their selection is bad, and it gets incredibly worse with the bonus things. And the way it strips away help and makes them incredibly more difficult just turns the tide. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people got up to about halfway through this game and liked it, and then by the time they're done, just never wanted to play it again. That's where I am. I don't ever want to play it again. Again, let me know in the comments if you know of a better version of this game that's very similar to this and not just Sudoku, because of course Sudoku is the next logical step of this and would be a little bit easier to solve. And if you do know a good Sudoku game, let me know in the comments too, because I'm looking out for that. But something that's a little bit simpler, or would be a good introduction for some game like this, let me know. But just almost every implemented factor has problems in this. I can get really nitpicky. There's no volume control. That should be somewhere. If this was on cell phones, it wouldn't really work any better. In fact, it would probably work less, because if you look at like the 8-1, the font is already too small. Like, it would be way worse if this was on a touchscreen and you would click there and and hit the wrong thing because of a mistap, and then drastically change your puzzle. Also, right clicking the lock wouldn't really work. So you would need like a cell phone button that says click here to flag things. Features are missing here. Like, I'd like to be able to eliminate numbers we know are not valid. So for instance, if I knew there wasn't a 3 here, I'd like to be able to middle click or right click or something to put a line through it or shadow it. But yeah, just more features missing. No score, no time. I've talked about that several times. Difficult to read. Crazy changing backgrounds. This game feels so much like it was made through the combination of several just projects that a video game Unity programmer would have to do in college, and so they just worked their way. It seems like really likely that in Unity there is a project that says make a changing color background for your program, make a button for your to exit the game, make a button to turn on the sound, put a horizontal bar at the top and bottom, put some text here, have a different set of gradient colored text here, make an image. And all these things are basic things that you would do in a programming class, I'm pretty sure. Make a button that works. Make some other buttons that are appear and disappear. And at the end of the day, this feels like somebody's first project. And maybe it was. And maybe the creators of this game are going to go on and do great things. So I'm not telling them to quit the business or anything. They just probably should have put some more effort and time in it to find good puzzles, and they probably should have left the bonus puzzles out. So that was just a bad video game development decision there. They definitely should have had smaller, easier tutorial puzzles. They should have had longer music. I'm going in circles here. That's it for this series. I am done with Crossset. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos, because all of that helps me out with YouTube, tells them that my videos are worth watching. Also, when you subscribe, click that bell next to it so you get notifications when my new videos come out. Also, down below in the description box, I have links to all my social media sites: Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, and Battle.net. Please follow and friend me on all of those services too. That's a good backup for notifications, and it helps me with those services. Let's Twitter and Google+ know that I'm somebody worth following. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.